What's up, everyone? Thank you for coming back to JPTV. I really appreciate your time with me today. It really means a lot to me, for real. The subscribers been going up. I really want to take my hat off to you guys. Tip my hat, tip my hat to you guys. I really appreciate the people out there. Today we are going over another amazing reaction video. We're going to be reacting to this together. Jesse Lee Peterson, yes, from the Fallen State. He also has a little radio show too. He did interview an author named denayja Reese or something. Okay, and as you can see, the title says "Blacks Turn Places or Neighborhoods into Ghettos." Okay, we're gonna watch this video just to see if he's touching on the correct things or not. We're going to see. All right, so. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I just remembered. 90 plus, about 90 to 95% of you guys are viewing this channel. Remember, like I told you before, just do not become a viewer. Become part of the family. I would really appreciate it. Hit that subscription button, guys. All right, let's roll into the.
I want to ask you about living in the valley. It was segregated. Why would white people want to live with the blacks when the blacks are so violent and destruction? Because everywhere they go, they create a hood, a ghetto, right? And white people tend to want to have beautiful neighborhood, paint their house and cut the grass. Why would they want to live with the blacks, knowing that that's going to happen, devaluing them?
Look, before she answered that, that's some true shit. White people, when I go outside and go into different neighborhoods, white people cutting the grass, picking up the trash and stuff like that. Why the blacks don't pick up the trash in their neighborhoods? Because I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why they don't pick up the trash in the neighborhoods, right? Because because black people think like other black people. So while a black person thinking, damn, I should go pick up that trash, he's also thinking, damn, another black person is watching me. And he's gonna think that I'm acting white by cleaning up. He's gonna think I'm acting white. So they will not do it just because of another black is watching or looking at him and having this type of thought from him. The black person don't even have to be around while he outside trying to think about cleaning. They don't even have to be around. It's just, oh, I ain't doing this shit. Fuck this. I ain't doing this shit. But white people walk around picking up trash that they didn't throw around. They trying to keep their neighborhood clean. And this is what the most black communities don't do. They don't clean the communities. And after that, they complain about the conditions that they're living in. Because those people that's living in that neighborhood is not taken care of. So the accountability is not there, and they point the finger. Okay. Nah, I'm not trying to act white. I'm trying to do things right. Maybe they getting confused with white and white. I don't know. Let's check it out.
Property and all that. Why would they want to live with the blacks, knowing that that's going to happen?
Oh, I definitely can't answer that question. I can't speak for all black people, and I certainly can't speak for white people. So I'm gonna have to opt out of that one.
No, but you said they were segregated in the valley, right? When you were living there. But why would they want to live in an environment where they know that the blacks are going to screw it up?
Oh, I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that black people enhance almost every environment we live in because we're incredible.
They do what now?
I said I think that black people tend to enhance every environment we are existing in because we are incredible and create culture and many beautiful things by just being ourselves.
And how do you define enhance? How do you define enhance?
I think, we bring ourselves, we bring our love, we bring our light the way that, I think many people can and have the capacity to.
And so you don't
Where's this chick living at? Where's she living? Under a rock?
see the mess that they bring with them, like crime, and they don't really take care of themselves, their neighborhoods very well. Do you see that happening?
I can't really speak to that. I don't know that that's something I feel necessarily comfortable to offer any sort of perspective on.
See, there you go. She don't want it. She don't feel comfortable asking that question. Why? Because other blacks are watching, and she's coming from a perspective of a pro-black person. You know what I'm saying? That's a mess. She can't speak on that. Yeah, you can speak on that. You got your own mind. You see what the hell is going on. But now all of a sudden she catches amnesia, right? All of a sudden she catches amnesia. And that's what most black people do. They catch amnesia. They don't want to be like, oh no, black people fucking shit up. Excuse my language. But they don't want to tell the truth. Like I said, the accountability is far gone.
And why is that?
I just don't feel comfortable doing that.
But that's what love is to be honest about it so the blacks can get better.
That's interesting.
You agree with that? That's what your book is all about. You're trying to help them,
That's
right?
not what my book is about. My book is about my experience navigating grief and trauma. It's a very personal memoir. It's my story. I am not an expert on anything except my journey. And that was what my book is about. That is what my book and my film, actually, which is available on YouTube. It's Don't Hurt Yourself. It's same title as the book.
But isn't the intent is to help?
The intent is to share my story, and I hope that people, one, see themselves in it, and I hope that in some way it does touch and inspire them.
Yeah, so basically your story isn't touching people, meaning that someone can relate to your story. So you can relate to the question that he's asking. If you want someone to relate to your story, hopefully that they have been in a similar situation or the same situation, then that's the same thing. You have an opinion on it. You can't answer the question, but you want somebody to feel you.
Believe, though, that by telling them the truth of why white people don't want to be around them, maybe they would, as individuals, take a look at themselves and go, right, you're right about that. Everywhere we move, we bring a mess with us. Nobody want to be around us like that. Then it'll start getting better because they have a knowledge within themselves, the blacks, that they're wrong, and white people don't want to be around them because of that, right? When they start working on themselves, if you told them the truth about it, that it's them and not the whites.
I don't agree with that. But again, this is your show and that's your perspective. But
And why don't you agree with that?
You know why? Because there's no accountability.
There's a few different things in there that just don't resonate with me and how I feel, but ultimately,
like what, for an example?
That's not what my book is about. So I'm not going to offer any sort of expertise or opinion on that. I think
but you lived through all this. You know about this.
I've lived through grief. I've lived through trauma. I've had issues with addiction. I've lived through a number of things.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that, but let me ask
you about that.
Let me ask this one other thing you said. You said that you mentioned black and brown. Are you referring to the Mexicans?
I am referring to people who have brown skin, who don't identify as black, which is a very wide range of people.
Did you know that Mexicans don't like blacks? They don't want to be around them either.
Really? Where does it say that?
Everywhere. I interviewed them over in South Central Los Angeles. There's a battle going on between the blacks and the Mexicans because the Mexicans say that the blacks are too violent. They complain, they mess up the hood.
Wow.
And so why do the blacks involve, when they're talking about the black issue, they always say black and brown, when the Mexicans are like, oh, don't put us in there. Most people don't like black people now because they always complaining and so violent.
Have you interviewed most people?
A lot.
You've interviewed a lot of people? What's your focus group like? What are the numbers?
Of all races, and they all say the same thing.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
You don't see that blacks and Mexicans don't like each other?
I definitely would not say that. I haven't done the extensive interviewing and research that you have, so I can't really speak to that.
Really? So you don't see it or anything? Do you have to be an expert to see reality?
I think reality is definitely subjective.
Man, do you have to be an expert to see reality? Whoa.
I think everyone's reality is different.
But do you have to be an expert to see reality?
Again, I think you can be an expert on your own reality, which I definitely am. I think I'm for sure an expert on my own experience in life. Yeah.
But you don't have to be an expert to see reality, right?
Again, everyone's reality is subjective. So your reality and my reality are very different.
No, that's not what I asked. Do you have to be an expert to see reality?
Again, everyone's reality is different.
Amazing.
So you don't
Isn't that
necessarily.
amazing? Oh, and so you ended up becoming addicted to drugs and things, right?
I had issues with addiction, yes.
And what brought that on? What was the reason?
It was a way of dealing with, well, rather not dealing with my grief. It was a way to sort of escape, having to actually sit down with myself and heal, which is what I later did. And that's what helped me overcome those issues when I was finally ready to get to a place and really deal with my grief head on instead of running away from it, which was a lot of what the issues with addiction were coming from. Yeah.
Yeah. People do use drugs as a means of escaping.
Yes, they do.
It's hard to look at themselves and take the pain and overcome. I do agree with that. But I'm telling you, that's the same thing that would happen with the blacks if they looked at themselves and stopped blaming white people or anyone. They will get better, but they got to become individuals, stop identifying with color, the black, they into the black thing.
So you don't identify as black?
No.
What do you identify as?
I am black as the ace of spades, right?
Right.
But...
Is that a term from Alabama? I never heard that.
Black as the ace of spades, yeah. But that's not who I am. I'm not my mind. I'm not my body. I'm not emotions. Have you noticed that thoughts and emotions are evil?
No, I don't know about that. Thoughts and emotions are evil?
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to that for sure.
And why not?
Again, I don't really subscribe to the idea of evil, so I wouldn't necessarily put that, aligned with thoughts and emotions.
And where do you create your own thoughts?
No. Oh my God, I wish I did.
Where do they come from?
I think they come from a lot of places, I think our thoughts are influenced by many things. I work in marketing and advertising and all of that. And a lot of the work that we do is influencing people's thoughts,
The thoughts, when you have painful thoughts, where do they come from?
I often think they come from pain, but the thing about painful thoughts, and I talk about this a lot in my book, is that you can reject them. You can say, I am not going to let this pain control me. Yes, I think this, and maybe in some ways it's true, but I'm going to choose to believe something differently. I speak a lot about positive affirmations, meditation, and really training your thoughts towards positivity.
So you really don't, and I know it may be a little hard for you to talk about because, on TV, but you don't see that the blacks' problems are their own problems and no one else. It starts in the home because most black men and women, boys and girls, resent their mothers. The mothers turn them away from their fathers, and they become like what they hate. They take on the same evil spirit that's in their mother.
I don't believe that. You think that black mothers are evil?
To the core.
Oh, wow.
Because that's where all the anger comes from. It started with the mother. She imposed a will on the kids.
That's a lot of hurt and pain. What was your relationship with your mother like?
Let me just say this. The mother turned the children away from the father and recreated the children her image, and then she played victim.
Did your mother do that?
She played, let me just finish this.
Okay.
She played victim and pretend the father was the victimizer when it's really her. So the kids identify with the mother and turn away from the father and catch hell. It's in the home, but they're blaming the wife when it really starts in the home because the father's been screwed up by their mothers and they have not overcome their mothers, and they end up marrying women just like mama, and they can't deal with them. And then you go into the...
Yo, that is the truth. That is the truth. And a lot of people will deny this fact that he's speaking of right now. Because you don't have to be an expert to see reality, to look at reality, to have your opinion on reality. You don't have to be an expert to do that. And you see what's going on. Most women, black women, do that. But most black mothers do that. I mean, it's the truth. Not all, but most.
World And the people who want to control you, like the so-called civil rights leaders and the experts, they tell you that it's racism, it's this, it's that, when it's really just hate that of the mother. That's why you have to forgive the mother so you can be better.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I touched the mic.
You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a lot of pain you must have gone through in your life. I can't imagine whatever happened with you and your mother or whatever you've witnessed or seen, you know, I'm very sorry for
Have
that.
you noticed that the
developed this
anger
perspective.
of the kids is that of the mother? That's what Black people are mad about. They hate their mothers and they're yearning for their fathers.
Wow.
But instead of looking within and understanding that, they've been told that it's white supremacy, it's Jim Crow, it's slavery. They don't even know anything about slavery. They wouldn't know slavery if it walked up and smacked them in the face.
Well, I think it's very interesting that you mentioned slavery.
And that is true. Most Black people are stuck on 150 years ago or more, 400 years ago. That's what they say. 400 years, we've been trapped for 400 years. So their mind is stuck in the past. You gotta let go.
Slavery in a conversation with, you know, Black motherhood, because Black mothers are the only reason that Black people were able to overcome and get through slavery so that
That's
you and
not
I
true.
could be here.
That is totally not true.
What an amazing clip right there by Jesse Lee Peterson. And just to add to it, man, I think Black people need to stop thinking of themselves as victims. I really do. I think that is something that started in the 60s, you know, back in the civil rights movement, where he was touching on Black leaders have lied to you, point the blame on white people. You know, and it's been promoted like that for years. You know, for decades it's been promoted like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, those people back in the day, Jesse Jackson and Martin Luther King, Al Sharpton and all that. Man, look, them people made a living off that stuff, man. Them people made a living off misinforming or giving the Black community anger. And that's what's going on till this day. Black people think that they're victims. All right? Well, as you know, it's an unhealthy thing. Try to overcome it. Forgive your parents, forgive yourself, and move on. And treat the neighbor like how you want to be treated. And clean up your yard. Clean that damn yard up. You know, out there, I got toys and all shit outside, and then you think the kids and the dog get to play with it. You know what I'm saying? Clean that shit up, man. Treat your neighborhood like how you want to see it. All right? Thank you very much for coming by, checking out JPTV. If you're not subscribed, please hit that like button, hit that subscription button. I really appreciate it, guys. It means a lot to me, like I said before, to continue watching this channel grow. You know what I'm saying? Seeing it in real time grow. It's amazing. It's amazing. Let me know in the comment section what you think about Jesse Lee Peterson and his what he was saying. You know, is it true? You know, do Blacks turn their neighborhoods into ghettos? Do Blacks continue blame the whites and thinking that it's their fault? You know, because I mean, for myself, I hear it now. It's the condition that we're in. What you talking about? The Blacks still blame the whites. Amazing. Hey guys, thank you very much for coming, guys. Really appreciate it. I'll check y'all out next time, all right? Thank you very much. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. JPTV. Once again, baby. Champ.